Ever wondered how a fleeting glance can become a lifelong obsession? The reality of stalking is a dark, twisted dive into control and fear. Strap in as we explore the murky depths of obsession and stalking. What is stalking? Understanding its nature. Stalking is defined by the U.S. Department of Justice as a pattern of repeated and unwanted attention, harassment, or contact directed at a specific person that causes a reasonable person to feel fear. The concept of stalking, both online and offline, has evolved significantly with the advent of technology. It includes a wide range of behaviors, from making threats and non-consensual communications to following someone or using technology to monitor their whereabouts. Stalking was found to be a pervasive crime affecting both men and women, with women being disproportionately targeted. It was reported that 1.8% of women and less than 1% of men experience stalking annually, and about 67% of victims were stalked by someone they knew, often a current or former intimate partner. Stalking behaviors can involve everything from constant messages to physically following the victim. Additionally, 11% of stalking victims report being stalked for over 5 years, highlighting the chronic nature of this issue. The psychological and emotional toll includes constant fear, anxiety, and in many cases, lasting trauma. The role of technology. Cyberstalking in 2024. Cyberstalking has rapidly become one of the most common forms of stalking. The Bureau of Justice Statistics reported that 80% of stalking victims experienced cyberstalking or tech-related stalking, while 67% faced traditional in-person stalking. Many victims were exposed to both types, indicating that technology often amplifies the danger of traditional stalking. The use of technology allows stalkers to persistently send unwanted messages, monitor social media activity, and even use GPS tracking systems without the victim's knowledge. 47 states have adapted their stalking laws to include digital stalking, but only 6 states have specific laws against cyberstalking. This legal gap often makes it difficult for victims to seek justice. The anonymity provided by the internet emboldens stalkers, who can now harass victims without leaving physical traces. In many cases, victims of cyberstalking reported feeling powerless as digital platforms provided insufficient protection against such forms of harassment. The impact of stalking on victims, fear, and beyond. The emotional and psychological impact on stalking victims is profound. 67% of victims of both traditional and cyberstalking feared being killed or physically harmed. Stalking isn't just about the fear of immediate violence, but also about the relentless anxiety that follows. Victims report a wide range of reactions, including anxiety, depression, social withdrawal, and even symptoms similar to post-traumatic stress disorder. It was found that over 70% of victims experienced disruption in their day-to-day lives, such as changing their normal routines, moving homes, or even quitting jobs due to stalking. The financial impact is equally significant, as about 1 in 8 employed victims lost time from work, with more than half losing at least 5 days or more. Victims also reported feeling socially isolated as a direct result of their experience, often becoming reclusive to avoid unwanted attention. Who are the stalkers? Types and motivations. Stalkers aren't a monolithic group. They come from various backgrounds and have different motivations. The most common types of stalkers include rejected stalkers, who are often ex-partners unwilling to accept the end of a relationship, and intimacy seekers, who believe they are destined to be with their victim. 35% of victims dealing with both tech and in-person stalking had their stalkers as intimate partners. These stalkers often rationalize their behaviors as acts of love or reconciliation, failing to see the damaging effects of their actions. Psychological studies have revealed that around 20% of stalkers exhibit narcissistic tendencies, which means they are more likely to persist because they cannot tolerate rejection. Stalkers may also have personality disorders or delusional disorders, further complicating intervention efforts. Understanding these motivations is key for developing effective prevention strategies and therapeutic approaches to reduce stalking behaviors. The law on stalking, a complex battle. Stalking laws have evolved, but keeping pace with technological advancements remains a challenge. In 1994, The Violence Against Women Act set the groundwork for tackling stalking, and in 1999, California became the first state to enact digital or cyberstalking laws. In 2024, all 50 states have some form of anti-stalking law, with 47 states specifically covering electronic or digital stalking. However, states like Nebraska, New York, and Missouri still lack specific cyberstalking statutes. At the federal level, amendments to the Stalking Criminal Code in 2013 expanded protections against cyberstalking. Between 2010 and 2020, 412 federal cyberstalking cases were filed, and the conviction rate was an impressive 90%. Despite this, the majority of stalking cases go unreported, and victims continue to face barriers in getting justice. The psychology behind stalking. Why it happens. Stalkers often have underlying psychological issues that drive their behavior. Experts have pointed out that the obsessive nature of stalking is often tied to dopamine imbalances, which create a compulsion to pursue the victim. This drive is similar to addiction, where each interaction, no matter how small, becomes a reward for the stalker. The condition is further fueled by societal misconceptions about persistence being romantic. Stalkers tend to misunderstand boundaries and interpret even neutral interactions as signs of encouragement. In 2024, research indicated that about 30% of stalkers had a personality disorder that involved elements of delusion or narcissism, such as borderline personality disorder. Such individuals are often incapable of taking responsibility for their actions, which makes treatment challenging. Psychologists emphasize early intervention through mental health support to reduce such behaviors. Stalking in vulnerable populations, LGBTQ, disabled, and immigrants. Not all groups experience stalking at the same rates. Women, LGBTQ individuals, people with disabilities, young adults, and immigrants are all disproportionately affected. Stalkers often target these groups because they believe the victims are less likely to report the crime. For instance, an LGBTQ person may fear being outed, while an immigrant may avoid reporting due to language barriers or distrust of law enforcement. Young adults aged 18 to 24 are among the most targeted, making up about 27% of all stalking victims. This group is often particularly vulnerable due to frequent use of social media and other digital platforms where they openly share personal details. Furthermore, individuals with disabilities face unique challenges as they may rely on caretakers who could potentially exploit their vulnerability. Advocacy groups emphasize the need for culturally sensitive and accessible support systems to ensure that all victims feel empowered to seek help. Victim reactions and coping. How to protect yourself. Recognizing stalking behavior early can help victims take measures to protect themselves. Some key steps include keeping evidence, such as messages or screenshots, and informing family and friends of the situation. In cases of cyberstalking, recognizing signs of stalkerware, like sudden battery drain or inexplicable data spikes, can help victims understand if they're being monitored. Victims are also advised to avoid direct communication with their stalker, as any response can encourage further interaction. Developing a safety plan, involving trusted individuals, and contacting authorities are important steps in mitigating risks. And that, my friends, is the dark and twisted world of obsession and stalking. If this video helped you learn something new, or maybe just made you want to double check your locks, then go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you want more content like this, because unlike stalkers, I actually ask for your permission before I follow you around.